Hey guys, welcome to DevOps School. In this video tutorial, we are going to learn about Docker. It helps us to create, deploy and run applications by using containers. After going through this tutorial, I promise you that the concept and understanding of the Docker will be absolutely clear to you.
But before that, let me ask you a few things. Are you dreaming of a career with higher pay and more responsibilities? Or are you ready to take your skills to the next level this year? Then start investing in DevOps School certification level courses which will help you to emerge skills for a wide range of entry-level roles and as well as higher potential future positions. But with thousands of courses online and in classroom worldwide, finding the right one for your career goals can be difficult. You can consider our courses like Agile Developer, Agile QA, DevOps Certified Professionals, Site Reliability Engineering, DevSecOps, and Masters in DevOps Engineering, where you will have access to well-structured, easy-to-follow course content that has been developed and will be delivered by industry professionals. You can join on our training programs globally through online platforms, and if you are looking for classroom workshops, then we have regular sessions available in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Delhi NCR, Mumbai and in Pune. Simply compare our many courses, find the one that suits your style and schedule best and start today.
Okay guys, did you understand this? Now next thing is, what is attach? So attach would get attached to PID1. Yes, now you understand what is a PID1. So when you use the attach command, so it would get attached to PID1, so you can go inside the container. So here you see that what is a PID1 here in this container, docker ps docker exec container id ps-ef. What is a PID1 in inside a container? Bin tini. So when I get attached to the same container, I'll get into the bin tini. Right now I'm a bin tini. It's not stuck, nothing has. You are on bin tini. You are on bin tini, and bin tini, control C, you kill this bin tini. I told you you are on PID1, you were on there and you kill that PID1. So what will happen? Container will get exit. You see here only 2. Earlier you had a 3. Now we have a 2. So you kill the container. So did you understand that? Container is running as long as PID1 is running, and here PID1 can be anything. How to go inside a container? Exec way and attach way. Exec way you have to use IT with bin bash, and attach way you have to, if you got attached to PID1 and whatever it is, you will get attached and you go inside this. Did you understand this here, everyone? Guys, everyone?
Yes. So by mistake, if we attach it and if we don't want to kill it, then
There's no way actually.
okay.
So in that case, you need to have some containers which is with the PID bin bash. For example, you take a Ubuntu container. See here, I'll download Ubuntu. So Docker pull. Let's play with the Ubuntu container. Ubuntu image, sorry. So Ubuntu is also image. It's a base image. It's a root file system. Remember here, I said very clearly. It's a root file system. Here Jenkins was root file system plus user file system plus application file system, but Ubuntu is the image which is a root file system. See, I downloaded Docker images. See here. Now if you do Docker run and see what is happening, Ubuntu. So Docker ps, where is a container of Docker? Oh, sorry, Ubuntu. Where is the container? So see here, why this container is not displayed? Because it's getting exited. Because I said very clearly, please hardcode this statement. Container is running as long as PID1 is running. So what has happened? The PID1 was bin bash, which got exited. So if we got exited, then container also got exited. Okay. So here, why that container got exited? Because of bin bash. So here, how to hold that container always should be running. That this depends on the developer. They write a image in a certain ways where the PID1 should not get exited, like a bintini, guys. Jenkins guys did the bintini, so that's not getting exited. But here bin bash automatically getting exited after the run. See here is exited. That means it has run at least once. So then only got exited. Getting up once.
So you want to say that particular Ubuntu image didn't had any PID1?
No, it was having PID1, but it was getting exited. It was not running as a daemon detached daemon mode. Background, you can say, right? See, there is one application you run. See here, it's like this. You run ls. See here, you run ls, it give you the results and it come out of it. But if you run ls ampersand, then it will run in the background always, right? Don't you think
Yes.
so?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so same thing I'm talking about. So here what is happening, when when you run the docker run ubuntu, then it will run and exit. So now you see, it will not run as a background, something like that, daemon. So it got exit. But what you can do, you can write an images like a bintini Jenkins, guys. You can hold that process as long as the PID1 is running, your container also will be running. I said very clearly here only. Okay, now the question is, you must be wondering how to hold that. Many ways are there. If you look at any things, bintini is one of the ways to hold that container. If you see any images docker files, I'll teach you some of this. I'll show you that one. So it's like this. So by the way, so here what I was talking about, you were how to keep running. So what I will do, docker run hyphen interact with what image of the container of this image, and what you want to interact with the bin bash, of course. So you can use it and bin bash with the exec also, with sorry, with the exec also, that's true, and run also. Now you see, I'm inside a container. See here, ps hyphen ef. See, what is the PID1? Bin bash. If bin bash I killed, container also get killed. For example, kill what? One. Suicide is not allowed, I guess, right? Is it allowed? Suicide? Suicide is allowed?
No,
No allowed, right?
not sure.
So I'm doing suicide. That's the reason it's not allowing. See, I'm a PID1 and I'm killing myself. So it's not allowing. So what do we do? I will kill bin bash. I'll not try to kill PID1. Exit command will kill bin bash, and then bin bash will get exit. So PID1 will get exit, PID1 will get exit, container will get exit. And you see here, correct? So see, it got exit. So now how do we do that? So again, if you want to do that safely, you want to exit without killing it. So you go and create one more time. I am inside this control PQ. See here, it's now is running. Control PQ, safely exit. So let me write it. How to come out of the container without exiting. So that answer is control plus P plus Q. Okay. So yes, depends on the images. Some image get exit because of PID1 is not holding. Some image will not exit because of PID1 is holding. Who decide PID1 should be holding or not holding? Developer of image, not you. Okay. You can interact with this way. Okay, guys, did you understand this? Guys, did you understand this?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is, the question is, so see what we did so far. So I have to access the container from outside. So how do we access? So see, guys, there is a container docker ps. I want to access this container from outside because Jenkins web-based application access from outside. So docker inspect and container ID. When I inspect, I get the IP address also. Many information you should read each one of these one by one slowly. Okay, but right now my focus is I getting IP address. See here. So can I call here HTTP curl HTTP and Jenkins run on which port? Anyone remember? Anyone? 8080. See, it's a login page. So I'm able to access the Jenkins, right, with the IP address of the container. Correct, right? Guys, are you there?
IP address you didn't mention anywhere, right? It took
It's in,
automatically.
It came automatically. Inspect command, if you do, you'll get the IP address. Okay, but I will tell you one thing. See here. So guys, this is your home. Think about it. This is your home, and here you have one internet, home internet through router. Now there's a two laptop attached to it. I'm inside the next apartment, next home. Can I access your laptop from my home to your home?
No.
No, simple, because this network scope is limited to local. This can connect this can connect this, but I cannot connect this because network scope is local. Something similar concept we have in a Docker also. So see here, this is the host where I'm running the container. Container is this one and this one. Host also has this IP address, container also has IP address, but this IP address scope is local. This IP address I can reach out from outside. That's why I did the putty. So look at this here. So if I try, look at this, look at my screen here. So Docker PS. These are the three containers: Docker, inspect, and container ID. And here grep Docker. Sorry, grep -i -ip. And here you have IP address. And then ping. See here. See here. So I am able to ping from outside, but can I ping from my host machine? I cannot reach out. See. So what we do? The scope is local. Scope is local. So what we do in this case? So it's AWS rule only, guys. What do you do? Whenever I hit to this, proxy should be created to this. That is the solution. Whenever I hit to this some IP port number, the proxy should be created to this container or this container. Simple. So how do we do that? So for that,
it is a subnet, right?
what is that?
Subnet.
Sorry, can you please repeat your question?
No, it is like a subnet. It will create a subnet.
No, it will not create a subnet. It will create a proxy. AWS also has a proxy. No, when you hit the public IP address, it redirect to private IP address, whereas private IP address is the real IP address.
Yeah, it like a VPC, like a VPC kind, like, no, it will be created with a separate network.
No, that's not a creating separate network. But see, look at this image, you will understand better way. See here. Right now, this is the VM. Okay, inside that VM has IP address which is reachable by me, but inside there is a container which also has IP address. This IP address scope is local. That means it's accessible inside the laptop, but not from outside. So what we'll do, we'll create a proxy here. So whenever I hit here, it should because it can, this guy can reach to here and this guy can reach to here also, both. See here, this is the middle point. So this guy can reach here also, this guy can reach here also. I mean, I can reach to here also, but I cannot reach to here because the scope is local. So what we do, I say I will hit you and you redirect the communication to this container, because this guy knows both of this. Getting my points?
Yes, it's like a gateway.
Something like that, yeah. We call it a proxy. Okay. In AWS EC2 instance, you get a public private IP address, right? Same thing happen. Port forward happen. You hit to the public IP address, they forward you to the private IP address. So who knows that your private IP address? Only AWS. You cannot reach out directly from outside to the private IP address. Make sense?
Yes, got it.
Okay, guys. So now look at this here. So here, what we do in this case, I have to create a proxy. So for creating a proxy, what do we do? So here docker run -d Jenkins. Why I am adding -d? Because I do not want to lose my console. So I become a D. Now I will run this one, it will create a container, but this time not only container, I want to proxy also. So here -p 8080 external port, 8080 internal port. Next container, if I do 8090, you have to change the external port, which is the host machine. This is the host machine, this is the container port. Okay, this is again host machine, this is the container port. So let me proxy -p will create a proxy automatically in the docker. So here created docker ps. Look at this container, you have it without proxy, this container with the port forwarding from 8080 to 8080. What is the host IP address? Host IP address is this one, and 8080. See here, look at this here. See here, I got. If I do second one also, second container, one more container, and this time 8090. And here we have 8090 also. So guys, this is the way you can access the container. You can go inside a container using exec or attachway, or you can proxy that container through -p, port forward the container through the -p, and you can go inside you can access the inside container from outside. Did you understand this, both the things?
Rajesh, that first 8080 is the inside container port, right? And
No. First one is outside. First one is 8080, this one outside.
okay,
Host.
okay.
Second one is inside. That's the reason you have host machine one network is there, right? So that's the reason I changed this 8090. 8080 will not take because host machine has only one network. Container also has, each container also get a one network, remember?
Yeah. So the first one is like to connect from outside. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay guys, so far what we discussed, let's little bit recap before getting into the next topic. We discussed about what is Docker, then we discuss about what is container, and then we discuss about how the containers getting the resources allocated with the internal of the system. Then we discuss about how to install Docker, then we discuss about Docker components, and then we discuss about how the Docker works, Docker workflow, and then we discuss about container workflow, then we discuss about run behavior, then we discuss about the importance of PED1, which is very important to understand, and then we discuss about how to consume container, that means how to go inside the container or how to come out of the container without killing it, and then how to access the container from outside. Any questions so far? Any questions so far, guys? Jake, La, Muhammad, Murali? Guys, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So far, so good, Rajesh.
Okay, so now let's move on to the next topic, guys. The important thing is you've been playing with the containers so far, creating containers, using containers, getting inside, accessing containers, and blah blah blah. But the question is how to create images, because images come from the container. Container come from the images. So now the question is how to create Docker image. Docker image. Now the question is, what is image? Let's recall this old topic once again. So go ahead here, and what is an image? So guys, look at this. Here, what is image? Image is a root file system plus user file system plus application file system. That means you have first use file system, which is acting like a base image, then user file system like a Jenkins user or user 1, user 2, whatever it is, and then application file system like a Jenkins and all, like a Jenkins, okay, or Java, or Jenkins, or Java, or Python, or Perl, or anything, MySQL, MS SQL, MongoDB, Tomcat, Apache, anything. It can, application can be anything, but they require the root file system to run it, because here I said very clearly here I said very clearly what are the things you need to run applications. Guys, got it? Everyone?
Yes, yep.
Okay, so now the question is again remains same. How to create an image? How to create an image? So guys, what is image? Docker is a so let me tell you here, guys. The image is nothing but a collections of file systems. Yes, collection of file system such as root file system, user file system, app file system, and many app related file system. But each file system, what do we call it? You know, in Docker, each file system we call it layer. What we call it? Layer. So let me see if I can get quick image, good image, Docker layer. See here, look at this. See here. See here. This is the layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4. And from this all layer created 1 container, 2 container, 3 container, 4 container. See that? So this is the image. Image is a collection of file system. These are the file system. This is the file system. File system is like a files and directories combination of it. Whereas the base layer is a root file system, which is you see here, root file system, Ubuntu. So if you see another image also, let me show you. Look at this. This is the good image. Look at this. Here. See here. This is the boot file system, which is a kernel. Forget about that. You cannot see that. But from here you start. Base image, which is a root file system. Then image, whatever the some changes. The screen is not visual.
Your screen is no.
Now,
Yeah, now we are able to see which image you are explaining.
this I copied one
Okay,
image.
this one we didn't see.
Yeah. So here you see boot file system. Forget about this in kernel. Here base image is a root file system. Then one image container. Then on top of it. So like this. So this is the way. This is the you look at this one more. Here. So base image you have a layer. So ultimately what I'm trying to say here, image is nothing but a collection of file system, root file system, user file system, application file system, and each file system we call it layer. So what exactly happens? Let me tell you. When you run image, okay, I'll prove this. When you run image, all layers of the image get merged into one layer. Okay, understand that all layers of the image get merged into one layer, and this one layer get mounted to container. That is called each container get one mount. Now let me prove it. So first thing, I am going to delete all these containers. So how do we delete that? So docker stop and remove all containers. I'll get the commands, quick commands here. I'm deleting all the commands. All the containers. I'm stopping all the containers in one go. I'm removing all the containers in one go. I'm deleting all the images in one go, and my system got clean. Everything got clean. See here, no images, no containers.
No, it's
Okay.
not.
So where do
It's not synchronization.
Huh?
Your screen is not sync.
or is it? I'm so
Your
sorry.
screen
I'm
is
not
not
sure
sync.
what.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do because that it's midnight and I can't even call the customer care anymore. Okay. I mean, it's really is not. I mean, huge, huge delay in the sync and audio and
No, it's
screen
the
and
screen
audio.
is visible. Screen is visible.
Now it is visible.
Okay. 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 So I did run these commands. Okay. I did run this command, these three commands, and stop all the containers, remove all the containers, and remove all the images. So where the images layers is being stored. So var lib docker, where inside this, so here one of the layers is being stored here, overlay. How do you know? Docker info, if I do here storage, if you see overlay 2, if the storage is off or device mapper or overlay, then you have to check that directory. But right now overlay 2, so I have to go inside that. See here, do you have any space? It's a 0 byte. Now is it in sync, screen and audio?
Yes, yes, we can see.
Okay, so now you see that's a 0 byte. Can I pull the Docker image? Let me pull the Ubuntu image, which is a very lightweight. Okay, I'm pulling the Ubuntu image. Now look at this here. So I said each image is nothing but a layers. You see here, 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer, 4 layer. And each layer you have a some file system. So you want to see that here, go inside this and go to diff, and you see this is the file system. Go back, go and see 3.5 and go diff and see here ls. See, this is a file system. Okay, go back here, go back, see here f1 cd diff, and you see file system. And last layer, which is you see, will be having base layer, I guess. This is the last layer and this is the base layer. Okay, so clear the screen, cd diff and see. Have you seen this file system somewhere?
In
Have you
our
seen this?
system.
Yeah, that's your system. It's a root file system. It is a root file system. So guys, I proved it. That is, image is a collections of file system, where starting with a root file system, user file system, app file system. Now what happened when you when you run image, basically you create a container, or all layers merge into one layer. So let me prove that. Let's go back here, docker run -itd ubuntu and creating one container. You see here, one container is created. I try it and detach. That means I did not. Container should be running and it should not. It should get detached also. So it's running. Now you see here how many. See here, one extra this layer you got it. This is the init layer. You can leave it. You can see the size of this init is nothing. It's a meta information. But if you look at the size of this, it's 77 MB. Okay, so now what is happening? I said all the layers, when you run an image, all the layers of the image get merged into one layer, and that one layer get mounted to the container. Do you want to see that container? See the mounting. See here. See this mount. At the host machine, you have a mount. So you want to create one more container, one more container, one more mount.
What is that path, Rajesh? What is that path here? Overlay 2. Can you just do PWD here? What is the current path of
that's a layer, merge layer. That's what I was showing. No, ls.
no, the system. If you do PWD, so where is the path, local path? Okay, it's in Docker layer 2, where these file systems are created. Okay, the images are stored in instance.
Yeah.
So you also see the slash merged file there, the one which you showed in the output, the above output. There is a last merged. There is also
inside that.
Okay, so the last 9A5 F5 is the last mount point, and it's getting merged, right?
Yeah. Okay, guys. So now
So we have to skip the init, right? Do we need to skip the init?
init is for the runtime. The moment you stop the container, this will get disappear. It's a meta information.
Okay, so this keeps on adding, right, as we use it. So we have to take care of that, right?
Yeah. Basically, you don't have to take care. Just understanding point of view. I'm just telling you. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to do anything as such.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys. So this is the, you understand what is a Docker image. Now the question was how to create a Docker image. That is the question. So guys, now I'm going to create image. There's a two method you can use to create image. One method is using existing container, and there's another method which is very popular, using Docker file. It's an automated way, Docker file. So both the method using I'm creating. So what has happened, let's say my manager asked Rajesh, create a container which has Ubuntu as a base and JDK, or let's say JDK is stored and Git is installed, something like this. Okay, so something like that. He want the image out of it, so he can get container and you can use JDK and Git, or maybe Apache 2 also. Okay, so this is what he wants. So what I will do, simple, I will go and create one container. So Docker run -it Ubuntu. This container I get created and I will go inside a container. Right now I'm inside a container. Now what I'll do is a Ubuntu container, base Ubuntu. What I'll do, I'll install the JDK. So apt get install JDK or Java, something like this. It's not there. So can I update this operating system? I'm updating the repository. Let's say Java if it is coming, and then install Java. Now Java is not there, so I have to install it from the OpenJDK website. OpenJDK, OpenJDK, and here apt is here. Okay, so now I'm installing this JRE. Yes. I'm installing the JRE right now. I'll choose this time zone and all. Done. Done. I'm going to install Git also, and -y I'll do this. I install Git also, JRE also, right? And Apache 2 also. So whatever you want to install, install it. Copy it. Set something environmentally, whatever you want, manually, whatever you want. So guys, Java got installed. Which Apache 2, which got installed, which Git, everything got installed. See here. Now Control PQ, safely come out of it, and and this container which is here, which has everything, Java and all stuff, like you want to check from outside also, Docker exec and Git, you see is there. So now you have this container. What are you going to do? So you're going to commit this container and become one image. So Docker commit, what you are going to commit, my image, whatever it is, reason, what you are, what is your name, Rajesh, and what container you want to commit. You want to commit this container. What image you want to give, image name, my image one, and guys, your image is ready. And see here, Docker images. See, your image is ready. Now you can create a container from this itd, and here now you got the container from here, and Docker ps, and you see this is the image1 container. Now you see Java is there or not, Docker is there or not. Let's check it out. So Java, see, Java is there. So this is the way you can create an images from the existing container. Guys, did you understand this? Guys, did you understand this?
Yes, yes. First, we need to
Yes,
create the
Raj.
container, and after that, whatever the application we need to we need to install that, and then we need to commit it.
Yes, correct. Now, how do we do through a Docker file? This is the auto manual way. How do we do that? So same thing. I will write a Docker file. What? Ubuntu base image. Who are you? Maintainer. What is your name? Rajesh Kumar. Okay, Rajesh Kumar. Now, what do you want inside a container? Run. What? apt get update. Same thing. Manually, whatever you do, you have to automate it. Update. Run. What? apt get install get -y, all whatever you want to do. I'm just showing you the basic one. So let's go to some location. Vi docker file and copy, and this is the and docker build. This time, last time you commit, but this time build -t my fff image name dot. Done. So this is another way to create image from Docker file. It's automated way. Okay. So guys, this is the way in which you can create an image. Again, some
This
advancement has to happen.
this Docker file. This is the name of the file, or anything we can give it.
You can give it any name, but by default it detect the Docker file. But if you give the other name, you have to apply the -f option.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so guys, this is the image. Now I created two images, but I would like to share the image. How do I share the images? That's the question. So how to share an image? So for that, I can use Tarball or I can use hub.docker.com. Yes, both you can use it. So let me create a Tarball first. So Docker images. I want to create a Tarball. Docker tar Docker save Docker save -o output, which file, this file, and which image, this image. Done. Now guys, this tarball will create with your image, and you can share this tarball with anyone, and they can use it. Now how can you upload this image with a Docker Hub? So let's do that. Docker login, automatically it will log into hub.docker.com. What is username? My username, I know that. You can register a free account over there. DevOps schools. I logged in. Okay, and here also I logged in. Okay, because I need a repository. So hub.docker.com. Sign in. Login. Now I create a repository. What is the name? I will give it anything. Okay, just dummy name, my image, whatever it is. Okay, and create a repository. Now I have to have a repository name matching. So here if you see Docker images, you have a repository name IFFF, but here repository name is DevOps School my something like this. So it has to match. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tag it. So Docker tag, what is this? My FF to this one. And you see here, I tag that different name but same images. See here, this one, same image ID, this one, same image ID. Now I'm going to push this image, and that's all. Now anyone in the whole world, those who want this image, they can pull it and run it and use it and give me the feedback of it. This is how you develop an image of your applications, and you can share with the whole world, your team. Did you understand that, guys?
Yes, Rajesh.
Okay, so guys, I try to complete the flow with all this stuff, but again, lots of things you have to learn. So we discuss about what is Docker, then discuss about what is container, then discuss about how this application runtime environment works. Okay, then we see that how we evolve through the physical machine to virtual, virtual to container. Then I taught you how to install the Docker. Then I talked about the Docker components, then Docker workflow, then container workflow, and then moved on into the run environment, rule of the PD1, then how to consume container, how to come out of this container, how to run the container, and with a proxy port forwarding, how to create images, root file system, two method, existing container, Docker file, how to share the images, and all that stuff. So guys, now same thing, you have to practice it. Now I'll share with you the video notes I'm uploading right away. I'll share with you the videos, and one more thing, guys, you have a 15 hours of recordings available on LMS only for dedicated to Docker, each and every topic. So if you find any confusion, you have a fast track course also for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, but you have a very advanced track course also of 15 to 20 hours. So whichever you, as per your wish, as per your comfort level, as per your mood, you can watch those videos in LMS and get going. Okay, this recordings will be available by tomorrow. I'll share with you anyways. Okay.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan, and grow your skills immensely.
Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest.
Thanks for watching.